She was standing on the edge of the bridge, staring down at the cold water below, feeling like the weight of the world had finally crushed her. Every step she had taken in life seemed to have led her here, to this moment of despair. The wind whipped her hair around her face, but she barely noticed, lost in the dark thoughts racing through her mind. Just when it felt like nothing could pull her back, a small voice broke through the silence, a voice so innocent, so full of curiosity. It seemed almost impossible to belong to someone so young. A little girl, maybe no older than 7 or 8, had wandered onto the bridge, clutching a tattered stuffed toy. She didn't run away when she saw the woman standing there. Instead, she tilted her head, looked her straight in the eyes, and asked something simple, yet completely unexpected. Those few words, soft but steady, cut through the storm of pain and doubt, leaving the woman frozen, unsure how to respond. No one else was around. No one knew what was happening. It was just her, the little girl, and the bridge. And in that brief moment, the world seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Would the woman step back? Would the little girl's words reach her heart in time? Something extraordinary was about to unfold, something neither of them could have predicted. And it all started with a single, unexpected question that would change everything. The woman's hands trembled as she looked down at the little girl, the wind tugging at her coat and the distant hum of traffic below filling the air. She couldn't understand why this small stranger was here, asking questions like she had known the woman's deepest secrets. For a moment, she thought of shooing her away, of retreating further into her own despair, but something in the girl's eyes held her in place. There was a strange courage there, a quiet kindness that seemed impossible for someone so young. Memories began to surface, memories she had tried to bury. The long days of feeling invisible, the nights filled with worry and loneliness, and the constant pressure to keep going when every part of her wanted to give up. Life had not been kind, and every setback had built this heavy wall around her heart. And yet, standing on that bridge, facing the emptiness, she realized she had never expected anyone to see her like this, to speak to her as if she mattered. The little girl shifted her weight, hugging her toy tighter, and asked again, her voice gentle but insistent. The words were simple, almost ordinary, but there was a weight to them that the woman couldn't ignore. Something about the way the girl spoke made it feel like a choice was possible, like the dark cloud surrounding her could lift, if only for a moment. And in that moment, a question lingered in the air. Why was this little girl here, at this exact time, with words that could pierce through the walls the woman had built for years? Something about her presence felt deliberate, almost like fate, but the answer was still out of reach. The wind carried a chill, the bridge seemed colder than ever, and the woman's heart was caught between fear and curiosity, unsure what would happen next. The woman's eyes darted around, almost expecting someone else to appear, someone who could explain why this tiny stranger seemed to know so much about the ache she carried. She felt a mix of confusion and unease. Who was this girl? Why had she come here, to this quiet, lonely bridge at this exact moment? The woman's mind raced, trying to find a reason, any reason, for the little girl's presence, but nothing made sense. Meanwhile, the girl's gaze didn't waver. She tilted her head, as if studying the woman like a puzzle she was determined to solve. There was no fear in her eyes, only a calm persistence that made the woman feel exposed. Like the years of hiding behind smiles and excuses had been stripped away in an instant. The woman realized she was on the edge, not just physically, but emotionally, her defenses crumbling under the weight of something small but powerful. Below the bridge, the river's current roared softly, a constant reminder of the danger she was inches away from. Every heartbeat felt louder than the last, echoing with all the doubts and regrets that had led her here. She thought about the people she had lost, the mistakes she could never undo, and the endless nights she had spent asking herself why life seemed so unfair. And yet, there was something about the little girl's words, innocent yet striking, that pulled her back from the edge, even if only slightly. As the minutes stretched, the bridge seemed suspended in time. The woman wrestled with a surge of conflicting emotions: fear, shame, hope, and curiosity. What was this strange encounter meant to teach her? Could a single small voice really shift the course of a life that had felt irreversibly broken? And in the shadows behind her eyes, a quiet question lingered. Could she trust this moment, or would the darkness claim her before she ever had the chance to find out? The wind picked up, tugging at the woman's hair and coat, as if urging her to make a choice she wasn't ready to face. Her hands gripped the railing tighter, knuckles white, and her heart pounded so loudly she was certain the little girl could hear it. Every instinct screamed to step back, to turn away and retreat into the safety of her loneliness. But something in the girl's steady eyes held her in place. That quiet courage, so unexpected, made the world feel both heavier and lighter at the same time. The little girl took a small step closer, her voice soft but unwavering. She said something that made the woman pause, not because it was shocking or profound, but because it carried a truth that had been buried deep inside her, a truth she had spent years trying to ignore. Memories surged, memories of childhood laughter, of small acts of kindness that had been swallowed by hardship, and of promises she had made to herself but never kept. For the first time in a long while, she felt seen, not judged, not dismissed, but truly noticed. Below, the river continued its relentless rush, dark and cold, a mirror of the despair the woman had carried for so long. Her mind teetered between surrender and hope, caught in a battle she had never thought she could fight. Every second felt stretched, as if the world had paused to watch what she would do next. The little girl held her gaze, unblinking, as if daring the woman to respond. The bridge became a stage for a choice that could change everything, or end everything. The tension hung thick in the air, the silence between them louder than any words, and the woman's next move would determine whether she remained trapped in her darkness or stepped into the possibility of something entirely unexpected. Just as the woman felt herself trembling on the edge, a sudden sound came from behind them, a shout, urgent and sharp, cutting through the wind. Both froze. The little girl's eyes widened, and for the first time, she looked afraid. The woman instinctively turned, and in the distance, she saw a figure running toward them, someone she didn't recognize. Panic surged through her chest, mixing with the fear she had carried for years. Who was coming? Did they mean harm, or were they there to stop her? The girl tightened her grip on her toy, her small hand trembling slightly as she whispered something the woman barely heard. Her words hinted at a secret, something the woman hadn't realized until now, a hidden connection. A reason why this encounter was happening at this precise moment. The revelation struck her like a jolt of electricity, making her question everything she thought she knew about this chance meeting. The bridge seemed narrower suddenly, the wind harsher, and the dark river below more menacing. The unknown figure drew closer, shouting again, and the woman's mind raced with possibilities. Was this stranger an enemy, a friend, or someone who carried answers she wasn't ready to hear? Meanwhile, the little girl's gaze never left hers, filled with urgency, pleading for trust she wasn't sure she could give. The tension exploded, a collision of fear, hope, and mystery. Every heartbeat echoed like a drum, every second stretching impossibly long. The woman realized that whatever happened next, nothing would ever be the same. And in that charged moment, with the bridge beneath them and the unknown rushing closer, a new layer of danger and truth hovered, waiting to force a choice that could change everything, or shatter it completely. The woman's heart raced as the figure reached the edge of the bridge, and suddenly, everything clicked, the urgency in the little girl's eyes, the timing of the stranger's arrival, the way the wind seemed to hold its breath. The figure, a middle-aged man with a worried expression, held out his hands, calling her name. In that instant, she realized he wasn't a threat, he was someone who had been searching for her, someone who cared more than she had allowed herself to believe. The little girl stepped closer, tugging gently at the woman's sleeve. "It's okay," she whispered, her voice steady now, filled with the kind of certainty that cuts through fear. The woman looked down at her, and something inside her shifted. Years of doubt, loneliness, and pain collided with the tiny spark of hope the girl had offered. With a trembling breath, she stepped back from the edge, the cold metal railing solid under her hands. She was still shaking, still terrified, but for the first time, she felt a choice in her own hands, a chance to survive. To keep going, the man reached her side and wrapped her in a careful embrace, grounding her as the wind howled around them. The little girl smiled, her mission complete, and turned to leave. But just as she did, she stopped and looked back. In her small hand was a crumpled piece of paper, which she pressed into the woman's palm, confused. The woman unfolded it and saw a single word written in a childish scrawl, "Believe," and beneath it, a phone number, one she recognized instantly. It was from someone she thought she had lost forever. The bridge had brought her to the edge of despair, but it had also, unexpectedly, offered a doorway back to life. With one last surprise waiting to change everything again, the woman held the little girl's note tightly. Feeling the warmth of hope slowly replace the icy fear that had consumed her, she looked at the child, who waved goodbye and ran down the bridge, disappearing into the distance as if she had never been there, except for the words she had left behind. The woman's heart felt lighter, and for the first time in years, she realized that someone could see her, truly see her, and still care.